It's the God MC, hearing communication about the African Times newspaper. Excuse any noises in the background. I'm outside trying to get the recordings on here in Chicago. We're here in the library here on 73rd, what's this, South Chicago. First and foremost, to all those who signed the petition, and it's been a while since you heard from me. I assure you the reason has not been because of a lack of effort. As I explain what qualifies me to chair the forum, I'm going to present the timeline and realities that I'm sure you're going to see are all too familiar with the systematic efforts to discourage self-determination. I will present the chronology, not to leave you defeated or to fearmonger without affirmations. I'm not going to leave you, I'm not going to present a situation where we don't have affirmations and confidence. I have great faith that the victory can be expeditious. I can ensure the progress has been and will continue to be measurable. We need measurable progress. I've always been one of the brothers who leadership was expected from. Elected class president in high school. I was the high school basketball co-captain. I was valedictorian in high school and military. I was first in command for some time and finished second in command in boot camp in a class of more than 70 sailors. I was immediately given work center supervisor responsibilities in the propulsion electrical generation plant, the second largest ship in these navies, United States Navy. I scored in the top 1% of my E5 exam. Those who are familiar with the military, you know how difficult that can be, the preparation that's necessary for that type of performance. And I made that E5 in less than 3 years in the electrician's mate rating in 2002. And though electricians in the Navy at that time can tell you that that was a very competitive cycle that I excelled in, stored in the top 1 percentile, as I just mentioned, and that E5 testing. Okay, none of the jobs that I've had after the Navy has been as difficult as my military service, yet I excelled as a technician and with the academics within that military service. In the civilian sector, job security has not been, in the civilian sector, I repeat, the job security has not been based on efficient quality repairs and good attendance. This resume I'm about to cover has had extremely high turnover from racism, coons, and booby trapping. Okay, extremely high turnover. Okay, as I said, I give efficient quality repairs, I give good attendance, I give leadership, all that type of good stuff that I gave in the Navy. I get to these employers and they don't want it. The intimidation is there because, like for instance, one of the jobs I was working for, Johnson Control, around December, what was this, 2008? Yeah, December 2000, around December, actually the summer. I first started with, I think it was in spring of 2008, spring or summer of 2008, because I know I took the class around the time my son was conceived, and that was around my birthday in July, late July, conceived my son, and I took that class and came back. And so in December though, around the time of the anniversary of Fred Hampton Sr., his assassination, I was listening to WVON, and his son, Hampton Jr., had bomb rushed the WVON's office right after the departure of brother Roland Martin. There was a brother there. This helps with the timeline, remembering these facts. And the brother who had replaced Roland Martin was bomb rushed by the brother Hampton, and this was my first time learning about him at this time, and I was inspired. I say, hey, you know, he was saying a rallying point, and so, you know, I'm not about compromising, you know, because I know I have skills that's in demand. I'm not about compromising. I immediately went into work with the Johnson Control van, and you know, I escorted the brothers to different rallying points where we at the University of Chicago, where he was giving lectures about some of the evils that the university there would be involved with. So they're not going to allow me to be in these positions with the job where I'm willing to use resources within the job to aid self-determination with the people. That's going to make me a target. Okay, I don't necessarily, that was the first time I ever used directly the company van. I wanted to expedite transportation at that time. But, I was just at an interview last week where the guy told me that the social media is monitored, you see, and this would be, this you can't expect to be involved with the people and not be targeted. Also at the interview, the gentleman said that, that he's speaking to his other co-worker who's a manager, and they're talking about how they are, if they don't like an individual, they'll set up a situation where they can basically paint the picture of them, set them up in a situation where they can set them up to fail, basically. He said it basically, I'm paraphrasing it, but it was that in so many words. It wasn't, if you're not liked, then the conditions can be established so that, not based on your efficiency with the work, not based on the quality of your work, not based on your attendance or your professionalism, but if, just if they don't like you or not. So, as a self-determined, someone who sees myself as being very serious, it's difficult for me to be a spooked by the door type of mentality and keep a low profile type of presence as an MC, as being involved with hip hop as a poet. I have to promote my efforts. I have to communicate to the people. I have to be out mingling with the people and making it known. Views, and so it's easy for me in particular to be targeted. I don't recommend everyone always take that stance. There can be a lot of people within the workplace who can maintain a spook by the door type of mentality and keep low profile and focus still on making a self-determined effort with the people. That's not going to be the reality for a lot of brothers and sisters, so we can't be naive about that. Before I get into some of these jobs again, some people are going to ask, they're going to say, I've had some of the gang stalkers ask, why don't you join other organizations? As I mentioned with meeting Hampton Jr. I end up having a falling out on him with on social media. I just speak out on, the Jamaicans just, with the new President Andrew there, they're cracking down on a lot of the murders, and then of course some of the dance hall artists came out, and all of a sudden now they're super conscious, and the people, the grassroots, are saying, hey, you guys are promoting this, you're getting behind this evil, and you're getting your stripes off of it. You're poking your chest out on it. You're getting your so-called credibility off of promoting the death and destruction. And then when it escalates and spirals out of control, now you want to come and pose, talk out of both sides of your mouth, as though you're involved with the preventative measures to prevent the death and destruction in the first place. You want to act as though you want to take credit for trying to bring about peace. And that's not, you're not going to get away with that. And I experienced that with some of the brothers who I was organizing with the anti-eviction campaign. I love you brothers. The brothers say, hey, you can't be holding grudges against people who've done you wrong. But I'm not holding grudges. I'm about being an architect now. I'm about being an architect with structure. I'm not about being inefficient with my efforts with people who get caught up with jealousy. And I'm talking about it was a role or something like that. One of the brothers, I think he was a scholar back in the day with Hampton Senior, and Junior was promoting Mos Def playing a role of them. And I was a little critical of roles such as Monsters Ball and things like this, where we're portrayed in all of these disrespectful presentations. And you can disagree with me, but don't try to discredit my character, as though I'm like some type of stalker, or as though I'm some type of COINTEL type of operative. Don't take your criticism to that extreme of a level where you're trying to assassinate my character, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying, hey, you guys need to be consistent with your works. I don't believe that's killing their character unless they have a consistent body and the entirety of their work is the death and destruction presentations. You see, one of the brothers who I met at that same rally that same day was Brother JR from Cabrini Green. The brother, he's a very charismatic brother. He has a lot of knowledge on what's going on historically in the city. Places a lot of work on the grassroots. But, he can get caught up in jealousy, and I was a victim of him getting caught up in jealousy towards me. When I met him that night, he told me that, he was estranged from the family. No one wants anything to do with us brothers who are on the forefront, a revolutionary who's in the grassroots and who doesn't compromise for the people can be marginalized by family. I met some of his family recently after this, a few years after that, and they seemed nice. But, at the time, maybe, that was the way he was being treated. I'm working for Johnson Control. I don't care about any of this money. I'm more focused on the people. I immediately go to the ATM. From that time all the way up until the time he was betrayed, anything that was mine is yours, brother. Here go the money. Let's focus on the bigger picture. Okay. As I'm recording this, I'm going back and editing my drafts to make sure that I cover certain things. And as I go forward, I'm going to speak about a time where I was incarcerated. I was incarcerated, and I came back home. I'm gonna go into the details of that in a little bit. And basically, when I came back after defeating this case representation pro se, the brother. Excuse me, hold on, let me get the truck passed. They do all types of sound interferences when the God MC gets going, because I be so in tune with nature. I be so in tune with nature, they be jealous of that and they try to disturb that aura. My aura brings about that nature chorus, so they try to disrupt it with sound. And then they want to be crying when Cuba gives them payback. Wait one. I'm gonna take note of this time, and I'm gonna be right here next week and see. Friday is 10:55 a.m. It's the 8th now. As you get into the recording a little bit, it's gonna be the 7th somewhere up there in when I get ahead in this other recording, so I'm overdubbing. But when we go, I'm gonna come back here next week, and I'm gonna see if the truck come here the same time next week at this same time. I would think they'll have a consistent time. Maybe they won't. They're saying the shot paranoid if I get to analyzing too much the gang stalking. But I'm about to get into some proven facts. Like I say, the brother, they shouldn't have the reverse on anymore, so at least that won't be a big of a sound distraction now. But the brother, like I said, I go right in my pockets. I'm gonna hit you with some money. We can start from scratch. When I get out of jail, beating the case, I come back to the city after being betrayed by my wife. I come back to the city, get right back involved with the people. Now he has the anti-eviction campaign. And that's great. You got a grassroots organization. They blessed you with some Harvard personnel. All of a sudden now the retired police officer then gave you a building. All this is great. Let's work for the people and agitate. The anti-evictions campaign. It's about agitation. There was some initiatives involved with it where they what he called it, the liberation of property. That's great. I'm about taking over some of these abandoned buildings, but I'm also want to propose. I'm also, at the economic forum, the Black National Economic Forum is about the renovation of them from a sound business plan. Where we collectively pool our money towards the renovation. I think that's a part that you need to have accompanying the anti-eviction campaign. And now I know he's going to allow me to do this with him eventually once I have the structure, the architect of it structured. But you're supposed to develop this architecture with me as well in tandem. Don't treat me bad, and then once you see that I'm starting to reach these agenda goals with, because I've understand that you're gonna, try to bully me. I'm gonna give it to some of those examples of the bullying. Don't try to bully me, and then when you see your brother reaching some getting some momentum, then I can be anywhere in the city. Then brother Ji pop up, but just out the blue, you know. Bless his heart. He to have some recognition. Brother's interviews with brother Tavis Smiley now. And like I said, I want the brother to be successful. When I met you and you was estranged, I went right in my bank account. Okay, so when I come home and I'm doing the laundry across the street from the facility, and somebody go into my car and steal my laptop with all of my documentation, my leave and earning statements that approve during the end of my enlistment that I came back to Illinois. All right. You can help me get this documentation. You can at least ask the brothers in the community to, hey, do y'all, get this, he's a good brother. Give him his documentation back. He needs this so he can continue his education. That's gonna benefit us as people. That's gonna benefit the people. Can't do it. Can't do that for your brother. All of a sudden, can't do that for your brother. Now you feeling as though, okay, his laptop in there, all his body of work is within there. So he's going to be discouraged from continuing on. Is this the purpose to discourage me so I just lose interest in the cause because I have a sense of urgency that you're uncomfortable with? Okay, we're not trying to go slow. Nina Simone did a song, Mississippi Goddamn, about going too slow a long time ago. So, I'm not trying to go slow. We need to have a sense of urgency. This occurred in this happened in what? This had to be this is 2010. This is 7 years ago. 2010 this happened when they took my laptop. I had a bunch of songs on there that I don't have anymore now. I lost a bunch of work on there with songs. I still got a great discography now, but I had some songs on there that I don't have access to anymore. I had a bunch of business plans on there. I had to rewrite a whole bunch of new business plans. Now the good thing about this is once I rewrite and do this stuff, that old stuff becomes a rough draft and I have a better structure. So, God allows everything for a purpose. When I asked the brother JR for my camcorder, some more equipment at this time. Actually, I had left this equipment there because I'm seeing the situation has a potential for escalation there. So I moved from there and I accidentally left my camcorder and I asked the brother back for it. Now he want to take it to some tribalism stuff. About I'm just taking your camcorder. I'm not giving it back because I'm a king from here and you need to just respect it. I'm just taking what's yours and trying to escalate a situation to tribalism. And it is unbecoming of the brother. Okay, this is the same brother who telling me the youth out of control when I'm asking him, when he's giving me the briefing on the state of affairs upon arrival back once I defeated the false accusations pro se. He's giving me a briefing on the state of affairs and he's explaining that the youth is, the excuse is the youth is out of control. No, the youth are not going to be manipulated and used and some of the things that was done to me as a youth when I was naive as a soldier and just putting in work, and the intentions is just the ball. The intentions is just to be sexually, it ain't about nation building. It's about to be, with the women and with the ladies, it's just to be, extra promiscuous and all these types of things. I'm about polygamy, but I'm not about excessive promiscuity. I'm about structure. I'm about economic development, collective economic development. So if we're not doing that, we need to be holding each other accountable. I lost a brother, my older brother. I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. We're doing all these great things with real estate. I'm seeing the jealousy with some of the community there, even though I've had efforts with some of the locals there. The youth, they still were a little undisciplined and still wanted to, get their street cred with the, some of the things that, we try to do to get street cred that's unnecessary, basically. And I was even kind of an enabler of it. So what, I wasn't putting my foot down as hard as I needed to. I was showing a little patience and giving them a time frame where we would completely be dissolved of it. But at this time, I'm offering my brother the invitation to, hey, come here to Virginia. I can use your efforts. I have a bunch of money for us. I just sold a bunch of houses. I left you a car when I joined the military. I'm paying the taxes on the house there from the military. I'm doing all this charity back to Chicago. I deserve for you to come here. We can set some structure up here and then make our way back to Chicago. No, I can't do that, the big brother tells me. I see. Only thing he's interested from me is the top shot of movie. He just wants the top shot of movie. That's the only thing he wants from his little brothers. For me, I guess because I'm married to my Jamaican wife, I guess he thinks that I haven't even heard of the movie. I hadn't even seen it at this time. I'm too focused on the people and creating our own works. I'm not worried about this movie, so I'm not paying any attention. So, you can't come support your brother. And and then we had another falling out over my nephew. His son. I believe it was an eviction or something like that with the mother, and my request was, if we're going to show love to the oldest, we got to show love to the one up under him as well. We can't estrange one. If I can't, so if you're going to just show love to the older one, then I'm going to support the other one. Now, maybe that was stepping on my brother's toes in a way that I shouldn't have done. But it's my nephew. I mean, if I'm going to love the other one, I mean, if you don't care about him, why even have a concern about it? Why even be concerned about it if you don't care about it? So you use this as an excuse to even further what you just searching for an excuse, because you had already done it when my mother was being taken advantage of. I want to confront the people who's taking advantage of her, and they're using it as an excuse of her addiction. You want to use this as an excuse. Oh, I'm breaking up the family. You want to find any excuse to try to attack my credibility. And this has been the consistent history. When I do my first album in 2004, this years before the confrontation with my mother being taken advantage of. This is years before I'm asking for us to support the nephew. I do my album. It's conscious. Oh, you basically attacking my credibility in the hood about my album. The people saw through it though. My peers saw through it. They were applauding it. Where this come from in the shop? Logic, where this come? We didn't know you had this. We didn't know this was part of your repertoire here. We knew you was gonna say the hood, but we didn't know you was gonna also include hip hop in it. So you hating on this. We on this street shit. All of a sudden now you want to be the. Well, he was still involved with the hip hop, but do what you got to do. But no, you got to change, Mr. Masters of Tupac. I'm in another city. You're supposed to be holding down my reputation. You hating on me. I'm sending you money doing all this. You hating on my creative works to discredit my reputation. Okay? Of course the people saw through it. They know I was the roughest, toughest out there. So they already know that this was an assassination on the character. This has been a consistent effort of my big brother. Even though I'm showing you charity, when I joined the military, I give you my car. Give you my car, it's in my name. Big brother, the car's still in my name. Please respect that and be wise. I'm getting tickets. You can park the car in the same location and got the same ticket over $1,000 worth of tickets. Thousands of dollars worth of tickets in the same location you want to park. Just fuck your little brother. Fuck him. It ain't my car. Okay. Okay. So you don't want to come. You don't want to come work with your brother and do the music. And then during this time you're going to jail too, and I'm putting money on your books. So when I asked you to come do this real estate with me, I had success with it. And then you also want to alienate me over the situation with my little brother. A little bit, few weeks later, no more than 2-3 weeks later, you done got hemmed up from robbing a goddamn cellular store, a cellular phone store. You done got hemmed up. You do what, 8-9 years. I'm showing you tough love during this 8-9 years. Because everybody else sending you money and TVs and motherfuckers in jail like this a rite of passage and it's just a vacation or some shit. I'm not down with that. You're gonna get some tough love from your brother doing this here bit. Okay? You come home on the same shit. During your time in jail, you're trying to discredit me. Because I ain't put no money on the books during this period. Now you're discrediting me. And now by this time, I'm back home and I'm putting pressure on the block. I'm getting petitions signed. So now I'm getting jealousy from the block because they don't want to have a sense of urgency. I'm getting confronted by brothers who I grew up with now, who telling me, I say, hey, let's involve all the shorties with the initiatives in real estate. And a day one brother, fuck them. And then you got some stranger right here. We having this discussion in front of somebody who ain't grow up with it. He ain't no original, and you jump tough and want to disrespect me in front of the brother, in front of some brother. He ain't no day one brother. Disrespect when we discussing business cordially. You take it to a disrespectful, like you about to, you know what I'm saying, put hands on your young brother. So y'all all good with trying to put some pressure on. We're putting some pressure on your brother with the bullshit that you're getting fed from my older brother. But the other youngsters they still ain't buying this shit. The young folks know better. So the older the day one brother who trying this bullshit, he can't push that agenda. But he can try. He can't push it that far because the youth they want to play the mom and dad role. They don't want to do they can get spoiled. They can get enabled. They want to be enabled. When I'm supposed to have the older heads in consensus without compromising with what the motherfucking agenda would be. A motherfucker used to couldn't walk in your hood with his hat turned the wrong way. So a motherfucker need to be involved on this correct agenda. Don't want to do it. Too spoiled. Okay, we got the Jags, we got the Porsches. Fuck all the fuck the shorties. Let them keep doing the same dumb shit and be associated with recidivism. Let them keep staying in and out of jail. We don't want to do nothing that we can attack the justice with our justice reform initiatives. You can't be compromising with that. Yeah, the brothers work. Even the brothers who the day one brothers who they lead by example. They working jobs, but we have to be taking our money when we working these jobs and pooling it together because they ain't trying to hire all of us. Okay, it's being proven that they're not trying to hire all of us. So we can't be. We have to show leadership when we're being rejected and take care of our brothers with intelligent decisions that ensure our economic security. We can't do unintelligent decisions that they want us to do that leads to recidivism. It's not intelligent. That's unbecoming of our duty. So again, they say you're holding grudges in the shy. It's not holding no grudges. People end up losing their life when we don't make the right decisions. My older brother, again, he comes home. I say, man, you need to get down with me, learn this electrical trade, man, so we can make these moves. I'm talking to him the way I'm talking to y'all right now. The sense of urgency is there. We lost two other cousins. So I'm letting you, look, brother, you know I love you. I ain't got to explain this. But this is what you need to be doing so that we can, so you need to be learning this trade. Now, you ain't going to learn this trade unless you spend time with your little brother. You got to come spend some time with me. Okay? You can't be spending time with motherfuckers casing out your next thing. You got to spend time with me, learn this trade. At these temp jobs that I was going to at the time, they wasn't coming and checking the jobs out. I'd be on the temp job, you know, a few days. I'd be on the job. I mean, when I start the job, they don't come check and see who I am. If you know the trade, you can be on the job making that money. But I ain't finna send you on the job and you a risk to your own safety, and you end up getting electrocuted. So you got to come spend time with me. Can't do it. I call you, you can't take the call. I get in a situation where a brother is abusing my work and my efforts because I do work for you. If we got a bigger picture that we aspiring towards, one of another brothers want to speak about later on in these job resume I was working for. When I'm working for him, you know, he was betraying my service and then end up trying to take some money from me. So I got him I led him on into a physical confrontation where I ended up flipping him. I didn't whoop him. When I flipped him, I was able to show enough restraint so that he can go home to his wife looking pretty. And I stopped after I flipped him. It was real easy. I would have easily, you know, beat him up real bad, but I stopped and showed restraint after I flipped the brother. And, you know, he could still be caught up in his emotions and try to escalate something to a tribalism type of situation. He has that background too. He's staying in the suburbs now, but he still has that background too, and he might have some revenge in his heart. So I'm gonna have my older brother aware of what's going on. I'm explaining this to him, and I'm explaining to him as well how the brother who I was sacrificing my wages for, a higher wage to work with for the bigger picture. When I'm explaining this to my bigger brother, and then I'm explaining to him how they can target him and gang stalk him and make him an offer that he would, that's an easier enabling route than the work that we need to do. When I get to this part of the discussion to tell my brother, it's on my mama's birthday, April 7th of 2016, I'm explaining this to him. When I get to this part of the discussion, now it's time to put me on hold for 30 minutes. You see, you don't want to hear this part of it. You want to put me on hold for 30 minutes. And that was the last time I spoke to my brother, because he has no interest in what's needed to avoid what occurs. And that is, he ends up trying to rob another location, probably was gang stalked and set up, and they assassinated him. Okay? This is what happens when you don't show that, when you don't have a collective village showing the tough love. But on the job front, and continue with that, Pacific Architect Engineers I've been employed with was booby trapped there. The U.S. Postal Contractor here in the suburbs here, western suburbs of Illinois, I was employed and railroaded there. That was some coonage, brother. Some coons were railroading me there. They had imported a coon from New York. He's now residing in Atlanta. To his credit, he didn't press charges when I gave him a mouth shot. Had to still on him for cooning. At the U.S. Postal Service, I had to hit him in his jaw. To his credit, he didn't press charges. I was railroaded recently around Christmas here at MRC Polymers here. Some Mexicans railroaded me. Had me in a hole for all of 2016. I had to win my appeal, had to win an appeal, pro se representation, which took all my intellectual efforts away from the grassroots effort for the people to win that unemployment appeal. Pro se, I was victorious and got out of the hole of almost 10,000 with them lying past the statute of limitations with the unemployment hearing that they didn't show up to. I still had won. That was with MRC Polymers here in Chicago. I was racistly fired from Wachter as a field technician for some made up, trumped up charges. I was paid unemployment on that. And I was betrayed from a sister who I was investing in during that time. So what I'm gonna be demonstrating with this is not to, as I said, to be defeated, but point out the systematic efforts that's meant to emasculate, that's meant to discourage, that's meant to attack self-determination. And a lot of these sisters, too many of these sisters are involved with it. Too many of the sisters involved with it. And I'm gonna have plenty of times. I have plenty for 98% of my address towards the black woman is about affirmations, okay? This little small representation of collusion with the enemy by the sister in America it doesn't represent the body of work for black women. Let's not get that confused. I'm just speaking of a small, minuscule aspect of contributions to our efforts in these United States when it comes to the black women and their collusion with the self-destruction, with all the systematic efforts to break down the black family. Okay, now I was bringing up Wachter technician. This was around the time when a sister was betraying me when I had just got the job, and I just went on and left because I had already she had already demonstrated the colors of what her intent was with the betrayal, because she was just receiving her master's degree around this time. Now I quit with Trump Press Brakes and punched the screen. It's a German manufacturing company based out of Connecticut. I was a field service technician with this company. They sent me all around the country, all around the world. They had just sent me, was getting tickets for me to go to Germany. And I threw all that away because I placed more trust in her with the efforts, because we had just did a self-love, self-hate documentary around the time when, around the time we were getting done with this, then The Hidden Colors came out. Okay, this is 2013, I met her 2011. We started discussing it immediately, self-love and self-hate, and we're about to implement that around 2013. This was around the time Hidden Colors came out. Okay, we working on a documentary. She was using her theater background to just lead me on and waste my time. Okay, but I'm investing my money towards this. I'm trusting. I could have begged my wife some more to stay with her instead of wasting my time with you. But I trust you. She's showing her commitment with that. Okay, I can move on, and then we can make these moves, and then we can come back and get my son. Okay, I quit Trump Press Brakes and get on our efforts. This one, and then their gang stalking, they intensified it with the gang stalking to keep me whiteballed. Okay, with Johnson Controls, I'm going back and forth and down the timeline of employment. I'm gonna try to put in dates as I go. I was employed by Johnson Control. They fired me. I received unemployment for them. They fired me for bogus reasons. They fired me from bogus reasons from Johnson Control. As a matter of fact, I was incarcerated. I was falsely arrested and then incarcerated. This is why I had to lose my job with Union Pacific. I was working with Union Pacific, the railroad here. I lost that job because in 2005, when I got out of the military, 2004, I was making a lot of big moves in Virginia. We were selling houses, and they were sending in people to infiltrate and undermine. And I ended up with some false charges. They were trying to kill me down in Miami, Florida. I ended up with some false charges of resisting arrest with violence. I had to represent myself pro se in that. The lawyer who I had hired, Mayvale Ruiz down there in Florida, took all my almost $10,000 of me. okay, and wasted my money to use my money, and then didn't represent the case, told me the case is gonna get thrown out as it should have, and then milked me for 4 or 5 years. All right, I didn't have to go to court during this time. She just wanted to milk me for this time, and then it came down. She wanted to say, "Oh, we can't get it thrown out. I need some more money. Then let's go to trial." I'm not going to trial. I'm not playing. You lied to me enough. I'm not about to lie to you no more. You're fired. So I end up with a warrant. So I was working with Union Pacific at this time. So now I end up in jail. Okay, I had to represent myself. Now I'm getting unemployment from Johnson Controls. Okay, getting unemployment from Johnson Controls during my incarceration. The wife scamming, getting the unemployment, lying about how much funds that we have in our savings. She lying about how much money we have in our savings, secretly stealing my unemployment money. So when I come home, I'm having an expectation. We got so much money in the bank. Okay, we have an emergency when there's a flooding in Virginia around this time. This is 2009, October, late October 2009. We got flooding conditions in Virginia. Okay, the car gets flooded out. I'm thinking we good. You know, it's a little beater car. I'm thinking we good. We got this money saved up. Okay, now I ain't even checking their bank account. I trust my wife so much. We need the emergency. I'm going to the bank. She tells that's what she want to confess now. And also that, you know, I was willing to stay in Virginia and continue on with the efforts from there, but you lied and bankrupt me. They got me whiteballed in Virginia. The income for an electrician with the saturation of electricians there is not as competitive for me as it would be in here in Chicago. You stole all my money. The least you can do is support me as the head of the house. When I first got you, you said you was going to go to school to be a nurse. You didn't do that. I still stuck by you. So you need to discuss. You need to support my leadership in how we get our income, especially after lying about the income and stealing it and spending it on Lord knows what. Who you tricking off with? Okay, so you call your brother and them over there. He a coward. He wait till your auntie bring the rest of her foster kids over there, and then he want to get tough. Okay. And then after this, you confess, oh, I was just in it. I got what I wanted. I got my anchor, baby. I was going along with all the stuff that we discussed. I don't want to pursue that no more. You know, I'm just gonna go stay with my auntie in her house now. She leaves and goes stay in her auntie house, other house that her auntie got, that she getting money off of with the foster care system. Okay. The auntie who ran off the other Navy from Jamaica. She ran him off. Okay, took his house. Okay, ran him off and took his house. And now she got her niece to betray my investment of 10 years. Okay, so she stole all my money. Okay, that she was getting from Johnson Control. I'll get back to some of these employments. Amtrak, like I said, they fired me for nothing. I put the bid in. Okay, for the night shift, get rewarded it, and then they say, oh, you can't do this no more. The white boy put his bid in. He told me, and he was in there for a few days. He put his bid in. He got to keep his position. So I'm asking, just show me where the policy at so that I can know when I should put my bid in. Yeah, I'm asking. So let me know what the paperwork is. What's the procedure? You know, what's the policy so I can know when to place my bid in so that I don't have this problem anymore, because I need to work for the people so I can be more efficient working with the people if I'm working for Amtrak at the night shift. Okay, you can't fire me for that. I got unemployment from that. Okay, I think I spoke on Union Pacific, but that was, as I said, I was going through those false charges out of Miami that I was successful in defending myself against with Union Pacific. And when that warrant come, I didn't want to get in a situation where I was in Union Pacific and someone come and take me off with a job. So that's what concluded that position. That was a decent position with the diesel locomotives, the diesel electrical generation for the traction motors. That'll be great experience that will aid the people. Kenya's building a railroad. we need to be working with our people in Kenya with that, and the Chinese over there. The railroad company across the street from Simeon High School I worked for. They had a brother there. He was cooning. Brother, I'm gonna try to avoid using the brother's name. I want to mention him so bad, but you know, he's giving me harassment, booby trapping to work. And when I confront him about it, his excuse is, you know, this is what I'm gonna expect from the white people on the job. Okay, you don't mentor me by mimicking the harassment that you've received from white people on the job. That's not mentoring me. Okay, you can tell me how they're gonna do it, but don't mimic it for your own enjoyment and pleasure. And then, as your excuse, say, "Oh, I'm mentoring you because this is what you're gonna experience from them." That's not, no, that's not, you know, that's not a situation I'm trying to be in. So I didn't last there. Uh, Little Creek base. I was working there right after the false incarceration in Miami. When my wife told me that, when the first wife, who now I'm divorced from, told me that she stole the funds around this time, around early 2010. I was working for the LCACs, landing craft, the hovercraft. We used to service those. I used to service and provide those to 400 hertz power distribution when I was on the amphibious assault ship. We serviced those, and I was involved with the refurbishing of them there in Little Creek. And I guess they didn't want me having the great discussions that we had with brother Tillman, brother Tony Tillman from Detroit. Great brother. He gave me a reference before for one of my jobs from Detroit. He's staying, I believe, still in Suffolk there, Virginia. Great brother, Navy counselor, retired from the Navy. We used to have some great discussions, and I guess the white boys, they brought in another. They had the high yellow brother out there with us, brother Craig. They brought him in. I guess he was reporting to them the great discussions we were having. So they didn't want me to come back and have those great discussions. I guess he told them I was the ringleader, so they didn't bring me back. I was getting unemployment through that. I've discussed voice routers. I believe I'm having some recording difficulties that I just got situated here. With voice routers, they was good, as I was explaining. That was a decent Italian company there in Carroll Stream. They had a fair interviewing process where I was able to demonstrate my troubleshooting capabilities with their schematic diagram for the interview. That was the most unique interview I've ever been at. And they just gave me a schematic and say, "Hey, we got a problem right here on this machine right now. Can you fix it?" I was able to fix it in less than 5 minutes, and they hired me on the spot. That was a pretty good experience. I didn't get paid that much. I would have been able to get a raise there. You know, it was a decent position there. I was moving on to more higher paying jobs there eventually that I just covered. And I was still fighting. I was still fighting that case that I just described in Miami that I had. Okay, so also, in particular with this job too, was interesting. I was working with a Mexican there. I was just discussing with MRC, and the Mexican, as I reporting this, we know we got this DACA situation that's trending in the discussion. And Tariq Nasheed, I don't want to segue too much, or be away, drift away from from my bio too much. But
that look good.
But we're talking about the collusion that can gang stalk self-determined leadership. Within when you talk about people like Lumumba, he started off, he was working with an alcohol company. He was working with an alcohol company, but the collusion wasn't against him where it was against him, obviously. But I guess this is, would be
I ain't been here for 10 minutes.
Consistent with that, as far as the collusion that I was receiving from the Mexicans and their work to align themselves with the white supremacy. Tariq Nasheed just did it's September the 7th, 2017. Tariq Nasheed just did a great piece on that, you know. And the brother Mexican who I was working with there at Mac Machinery told me, hey, when black people in their neighborhood, we thinking yous don't belongs here. You know, we don't aspire to take all the Mexicans' women. I know I don't. Okay, so you know, this is just a continuation of the alignment there. Okay, and you know, because of Africa's vastness, the initial prisoners of war were kidnapped. Okay, I agree with Yosef Ben Yakanan that kings were not involved with the profiting from slavery. Profits made from the initial kidnappings enabled payment for Africans to sell out their brothers, you know, because they're going to want the strongest tribes to ensure their investments, you know, so they're going to go against the people who lose in any type of conflict in Africa, align themselves with them to sell out their brothers who maybe had been victorious in some victories. They're going to get the most strongest warriors, the warrior mandingos to bring over here to build up their civilization, to teach them how to establish a civilization in this here Western hemisphere. So it's ingrained within us to suffer in the workplace. Okay, this is why you don't hear about many blacks shooting up workplace shootings. It's not my intention to do any of that. I'm still self-determined. I still have confidence in my abilities with our people. I still get signatures for my petition for the Economic Forum, for the African Times newspaper. So I know our potential. It's just that I can't have my time wasted. So I can't compromise my time with our efforts. Okay. I'm proud of, I don't want to sound defeated about the experiences. I'm proud of the vast range of applications and hands-on experience that my knowledge is familiar with. However, I'm at a point in my life now where my audit is telling me that my service to the people is suffering as a result of this consistent last hired, first fired targeting routine. It's impacting my ability to finance expenses for the National Black Forum, Africa Times News, and Freelife Records. Okay. WBEZ just did an article with a sister. She was interviewing Brother Mays, who has a morning talk show on WVON. She was covering Brother Mark Carter from the West Side, who is on the grassroots, on the forefront of our liberation. Mays on the forefront of our liberation. And the sister was covering, you know, the lawyer has said, you know, he was amazed at how many black men voted for Trump before the wall, because you know they go to these temp agencies. This is the minuscule jobs, these the scrap jobs. I'm working them now and I'm experiencing it. Okay, I've been working them for a few weeks recently, and I'm experiencing, you know, you go in there and like I say, they, you know, it's half essays, half Latinos, half Mexicans, half blacks, and then when at the end of all the jobs, when all the jobs given out, then it's only the black people who left in the temp agencies at the end of that day. Okay, she was just covering that. You want to cover something, sister? You want to discuss something else with me? So it's not my intention to be defeated, to say that we don't have capabilities, that we don't have affirmations. We definitely can accomplish anything that we need. We have all of the skills, all of the expertise in all the areas that's necessary to address any problem that is being that any problem that we have, we can address. Okay. I've communicated what qualifies me for the Black Forum, where businesses come, communicate investment job opportunities, where we can perform and collectively pool our money towards you know, home acquisition, the renovation, the skills that's associated with that, and any other business aspiration that the people will want. We have the means to do that. I want that. We're going to make that a platform in which we're accomplishing that, and we have a central structure that enables us to accomplish these goals. We need to be communicating our own narrative. We need to have an entity that's bringing about cooperation amongst the different affirmations as far as the businesses that we have. You know, and that's what the Black Forum is going to be, a platform that allows that. The narrative, as far as the media, we need to be communicating and combining these efforts in the media. That's what the African Times News, right now is just going to be on Facebook, at African Hip Hop News. You can place that in the search window on Facebook, at African Hip Hop News, with an S at the end of the news. And you know, we're going to develop that structure where we're communicating a lot of the conversation, a lot of the dialogue that's happening in a lot of these groups. I saw brother Raheem, one of my Facebook friends, was saying, you know, he wants, you know, he's having trouble with having the correct dialogue, with surrounding himself with the correct type of minds that he needs to elevate his thinking intellectually. And we do need that aspect. We do need elevated minds and light minds so we can bounce ideas off of, and that'll be a great format for the at African Hip Hop Times News to fill that void. We have some structure as far as the sales that will enable people to get some subscriptions. We're gonna ask a very humble subscription. I believe it was something like 50 cents a month. And it's gonna be a multifaceted aspect. Of course, we're gonna get a website for it and structure it up where it can perform these different functions of classifieds and allowing writers to tell our narrative, get the correct type of investigative journalism that we don't see. We just see the reactionary numbers of, oh, he was shot here or the murder there, and there's nothing preventative that's going on, not on the scale that it needs to be. So we need to be contributing to the scale where it needs to be on the preventative front to avoid the murders. And that's what the African Times News, that's what the performances that will be allowed at the forum is going to allow. It's going to allow us to attack these murders as the ambulance comes past, to diminish these numbers. You know, you're only going to diminish these numbers by creating opportunity. We're not going to diminish these numbers by just, you know, reporting on the murders as they occur. You know, it was a murder here, it was a murder there. That's not going to prevent anything. You know, doing having the, you know, after so many death and destruction songs, GCI just want to have a round table town hall. That's not going to stop anything. Being reactionary, we have to be preventative. I'm a maintenance man. I want to communicate that to people so that, you know, when these goals are very ambitious. So when people hear some ambitious goals like this, they want to know my bio, and I have no problem with providing that. The different areas of expertise and experience that I have is qualifies me to chair these bodies. I don't want to chair them, all of them. Obviously, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna, you know, I can architect, but I eventually just want to focus primarily on creative art, you know, maybe some electrical work, you know, some few things that I can, you know, I can dabble in. But of course, I want these entities to be chaired by other leaders. You know, the sister Tanya Hardy, who I've been networking with, told me, you know, we need to be developing leaders. We're not developing followers. We're developing leaders who are going to run these, who we're going to support. And that's what it's about. It's not about having a bunch of followers and so that a leader can be taken and the ship can be run aground when the leadership is taken off, when one leader is taken off. We can't have the movement derailed from that type of structure. That's not intelligent. Speaking of the ship, even during my time in the Navy, I've always been organizing amongst the sailors, the brothers on the ship, having meetings about real estate. Most of the brothers who I went to after those meetings, you know, eventually became homeowners. The ones who've invested with me got great returns. Brother Zakia Harris from Dayton, Ohio, made him a bunch of money off of $500. Gave him like $2,500 he made back off of it. Brother Russell from Philly, made him some money off of the real estate. A chief, my homie Black from Norfolk, his mother, a Navy chief, retired, saved her $20,000 in equity that she was going to lose going into foreclosure. Countless affirmations with real estate. I've had experience with the renovation process, with the structure, a system that will ensure the due diligence is proper, and that people are going to have victories from these investments. And I'm not trying to present myself as being perfect or not having mistakes during this history, not having even some things that I regret. I'm not gonna say regret. Some situations where people want to judge me on, some situations where there's some embarrassing situations. Let's put it like that. I'm not embarrassed by them, but other people would try to embarrass me about them. But my heart has always been pure. I can rest asleep knowing that, and my intentions has always been. I've never manipulated anyone to take advantage of them and abuse them. No one never be able to report that. Right now, the white balling and the attacking that's been going on because of my efforts, I'm gonna have to fundraise through the African Times newspaper, and that's going to get the forum going. It's going to get the forum going for the African Times newspaper. We have the sales subscription structure. Okay, sales subscription structure. I'm going to have those links on the African Times newspaper. You can find that at Free Black Forum. Again, there's a page for the Black Forum on Facebook, at Free Black Forum. That's FORUM Forum. Free Black, all that is the way it's sound, at Free Black Forum. And we have the sales commission structure there, PowerPoints on the real estate acquisition. We're going to continuously put up some the perspectives of the businesses and the business plans, PowerPoint slides, and of course these are going to be communicated at the forum. The forum is going to be dynamic, great food. We're going to be performing. We're going to have great positive, uplifting messages. We're not going to have any death and destruction messages. It's going to be a family-friendly environment. And this was just basically an introduction of who I am. I want guys to know who I am. I want people to know who I am. I'm completely about transparency, an open book. Nothing to hide about who I am. And I appreciate your time. Be sure to check out those links and contribute. And you keep doing the good fight in the shop.